The whispering woods had grown quiet under the rain of late autumn. The vibrant reds and golds of the leaves had turned to a brittle, chocolate brown, crunching like parchment under Leo's pores. Leo, now a seasoned traveller of the night, stood on the great stump, looking toward the north. Usually, the northern sky was a deep, velvet indigo, but tonight, something was wrong. A ribbon of pale, ghostly green light began to flicker across the horizon. It didn't sit still like the moon. It waved and snapped like a silk banner in a high wind. As Leo watched, he realised he wasn't just seeing the light, he was hearing it. It was a sound like glass harps played by the wind, a crystalline humming that made his whiskers tingle. "It's beautiful," a voice chirped. It was Pip the rabbit, bundled in a tiny scarf the woodcutter's daughter had left behind. "But the swallows are confused, Leo. Look above them." A flock of birds circled aimlessly. Usually, they flew with a quiet, determined grace. Now, they were chirping in distress. The strange green light was pulling at their internal compasses, making them fly in circles instead of heading to the warm southern lands. Without the sky music to guide them, they would be trapped in the coming frost. "I have to go," Leo said, his amber eyes reflecting the green glow. "If the birds don't leave, they won't survive the first snow. The light is calling, but it's singing a broken song. I have to find the source." Barnaby the owl landed with a heavy thump asterisk on a branch. "The frozen tundra is no place for a forest fox, Leo. The wind there can turn a breath into icicle before it leaves your nose. You'll need more than a jar for this journey. You'll need a guide." "Where do I find one?" Leo asked. "Find the North Star's shadow," Barnaby replied cryptically. "In the Valley of Blue Ice, there lives a creature who walks between the light and the dark." Leo packed a satchel with dried berries and a flask of warm honey water. He looked back at his cozy den, the smell of lavender at home pulling at him. But then he looked at the shivering birds above. He turned his nose north and began to run. The further north Leo travelled, the more the world changed. The tall oaks and elms gave way to stunted, hardy pines that leaned away from the wind. The ground turned from soft earth to iron-hard permafrost. After 3 days of travel, he reached the Valley of Blue Ice. The air here was so cold it felt sharp, like inhaling tiny needles. The valley was filled with giant, translucent shards of ice that rose from the ground like the teeth of a sleeping dragon. In the centre of the valley sat a great white bear. He was massive, his fur the colour of a heavy snow cloud, and his eyes were the colour of the deep ocean. "I'm Leo," the fox said, his voice small against the howling wind. "I seek the North Star's shadow to help me find the Aurora." The bear turned slowly. "I am Bjorn," he rumbled. The sound was so deep it shook the ice beneath Leo's pores. "And you are far from your trees, little fox. Why do you care if the sky sings a broken song?" "Because the birds have lost their way," Leo replied, shivering. "And a world without the return of the birds is a world that has forgotten how to hope for spring." Bjorn looked at the small, orange fox speck of warmth in a desert of ice. He stood up, towering over Leo. "Then walk in my shadow, little fox. The tundra is a cruel teacher, but I will show you the path." Walking in Bjorn's shadow was like walking behind a living wall. The bear's massive body blocked the worst of the biting wind. As they climbed higher into the tundra, the green light in the sky grew brighter and more erratic. It began to turn purple and red at the edges, snapping like a whip. The aurora is a reflection of the world's heartbeat. Bjorn explained as they trekked through a whiteout. When the world is at peace, she sings a steady lullaby, but someone or something is tugging at her threads. Suddenly, the wind changed. It didn't just blow, it began to swirl into shapes. Small, snowy spirits, the *Korakaza* began to dance around them. They were mischievous entities made of ice crystals, and they loved to lead travelers astray. Don't listen to their laughter, Bjorn warned. The spirits whispered into Leo's ears, sounding like his friends back home. *Leo, come back to the den, the fire is warm, why stay in the cold? Leo felt his paws grow heavy. He wanted to curl up in the snow and sleep, but he remembered the sight of the swallows circling in fear. He reached into his satchel and pulled out a single dried lavender sprig from his home. The scent was faint, but it reminded him of his purpose. The smell of home acted like an anchor, keeping him from drifting away with the spirits. At the very edge of the world stood a mountain made of pure obsidian black, shiny, and reaching so high it seemed to pierce the belly of the clouds. This was the sky loom, where the Aurora was woven every night. As they reached the base, they found the source of the trouble. A giant winged wraith, a creature made of tract, angry storms had become tangled in the ribbons of the Aurora. As the wraith thrashed to get free, it was pulling the lights out of alignment, causing the sky music to turn into a discordant shriek. I cannot climb that peak, Bjorn said sadly. I am too heavy for the obsidian paths. This part of the journey is yours, Leo. You are light. You are quick. You must untangle the song. Leo looked up the sheer, black cliffs. He was terrified. His paws were sore, and his fur was matted with frost. But he looked at the sky, where the green ribbons were fraying and breaking. I'll do it, Leo whispered. The climb was like walking on a mirror. Every step had to be precise. Leo used his sharp claws to find tiny chinks in the obsidian. Halfway up, the wind wraith saw him. It let out a roar of freezing air, trying to blow the fox off the mountain. Leo pressed his belly flat against the cold stone. He didn't fight the wind. He waited for the breaths of the storm. Between the gusts, he lunged upward, moving like a flash of orange fire against the black rock. He reached the summit and saw the loom, a massive archway of ancient energy, where the lights of the world were filtered into the sky. The wind wraith was caught in the golden thread, the central chord of the Aurora's song. Leo didn't attack the wraith. He saw that the creature was just as scared as the birds. It was trapped and hurting. Stop fighting. Leo shouted over the roar. If you pull harder, the thread will break, and you'll be lost in the void forever. The wraith paused, its misty eyes whirling with lightning. I am cold, I am lost, it moaned. Leo realised that the wraith was a lost wind that had no home. He remembered how he felt when he first looked for the moon's reflection. I can give you home, Leo said. He opened his satchel and pulled out his empty glass jar, the one that had once held the moon. Rest here, Leo offered. I will take you back to the Whispering Woods. We have a valley of hollow logs and warm caves. You can be the gentle breeze of the spring instead of the wraith of the north. The wraith, exhausted and seeking peace, began to shrink. It swirled into a small, shimmering silver mist and drifted into Leo's jar. Leo tightened the lid. With the wraith gone, the ribbons of the Aurora snapped back into their proper place. The green light smoothed out into a beautiful, flowing river of emerald and violet. The sound changed instantly. The glass shattering shriek turned into a deep, resonant hum, a song so pure and steady that Leo felt his heart beat in perfect time with it. From high on the mountain, Leo looked south. Even from miles away, he could imagine the swallows suddenly stopping their frantic circling. He could almost see them lining up, their internal compasses finally finding the true North Star's song. With a joyful chirp, the flock began its long journey home. The journey down was much faster. Bjorn was waiting at the bottom, his deep eyes shining with pride. "You have done a great thing, little fox. The tundra will remember your name. The ice will whisper it to the sea, and the sea will tell it to the shore." Bjorn carried Leo all the way back to the edge of the tree line. As they parted, Bjorn gave Leo a single, white bear claw on a leather cord. "If you ever find yourself in a cold place again, Leo, hold this. It carries the warmth of a mountain's heart." Leo returned to the Whispering Woods just as the first dusting of snow began to fall. But this time, no one was afraid. The birds were gone, safe on their way to the sun. Leo went to the centre of the woods and opened his jar. The wind wraith didn't come out as a monster. It emerged as a soft, warm gust of air that smelled of mountain ozone and snow flowers. It settled into the trees, becoming the winter's breath that would gently rock the forest to sleep. Leo returned to his den, curled his white-tipped tail around his nose, and listened to the sky. The Aurora was still there, singing its quiet song. And for the first time in his long journey, Leo fell into a sleep that was completely, wonderfully shadow-free. After Leo returned from the tundra, the Whispering Woods felt different. The spring breeze he had brought back in his jar lived in the high branches of the great oak, whispering secrets of distant lands to anyone who cared to listen. But Leo found he couldn't settle back into his old life so easily. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the dancing green lights. He realised that while the birds were safe, the sky music had left a lingering vibration in his own pores. He was now tuned to the world in a way other foxes were not. One evening, Sealers the tortoise crawled to Leo's den. "The balance is shifting, Leo," Sealers rumbled. The Aurora's song was restored, but it woke something up, something that has been sleeping since the first winter. Following Sealers' cryptic warning, Leo noticed a strange phenomenon. In the middle of the frozen meadow, a single flower had sprouted through the ice. It wasn't a normal flower. Its petals were made of crystalline flame, flickering with the same emerald green as the Aurora. It was **** frost via bloom ****. "It's beautiful," Pit the rabbit exclaimed, reaching out a paw. "Wait," Leo barked. He sensed something. As Pip's shadow fell over the flower, it didn't lean toward the light, it leaned toward Pip, trying to draw the warmth from his fur. Leo realised that the restored Aurora was so powerful it was seeding the earth with celestial energy. If too many of these flowers grew, they would drink all the warmth of the forest, leaving it in a state of eternal, frozen beauty. To balance the frost fire, Leo needed to find the *** sun-warming stone ****, a legendary relic hidden in the smoky caverns to the south. If the north was the home of ice, the south was the home of the earth's heart. He set off once more, but this time he wasn't alone. Bear, the young kit from the previous story, insisted on coming. "You're getting silver in your fur, Leo," she teased, though her eyes were full of respect. "You need someone to keep your tail out of the brambles." Leo smiled. The journey was no longer just about saving the woods. It was about teaching the next generation how to listen to the world's rhythm.